how do you really think Jason Tatum feels that Brown is going to, likely going to win the Finals MVP? At least right now, he's the Finals MVP front runner. He was the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. How do you think he really feels inside about that?
I don't think he's like those things happen. You're not going to win them all. Everybody's not Michael Jordan, even though, you know what I mean? Like,
yep.
I don't think he should be just happy that they're going to, get their monkey off their back, Chris. So,
right.
Like that's really, if I'm him, that's what I'm happy the most about. Because once you have one in your back pocket, you could just play now. Like that. That's the thing you're wanting to do.
Well, remember he said that about Anthony Davis. We thought he'd go to another level.
No, right.
I mean, his ring,
that's what it should have been.
Right.
He should have been the focal point and all that, and let LeBron rest during the rest. But that's something else. But it does give you some leeway and breathing room, Chris. Like you can say whatever you want.
He's a made man. After this.
I got my championship. I played whatever. We won. We might not win again. We might not get back again. That's the luck of the draw, right? But I got it done, and that's really what it comes down to, is getting it done. So whoever's the MVP, hey, it's not my turn this time. Who knows? The next time we go next year, maybe I'm the guy who is the MVP. Like that's the way you have to look at it.
Yeah, look, I do think he definitely is focused on the championship, and when we win this championship, it's just going to be phenomenal. Like I really think that's the first and foremost thing in his mind, and he's going to be legitimately happy and overjoyed and relieved that he won his first championship. Might end up, Rob, being his only championship. So I'm sure he's going to be hyped about that.
Because you're not I know you always had your questions about the Celtics, and with legitimate reasons because of some of the stuff that we've seen and some of the games. So they were all legitimate. It wasn't illegitimate. It was legitimate. But, once they get it done, Chris, you just that can't be a conversation or a narrative, right? I don't trust them. Right. I don't believe in them.
They can get it done.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's done.
But I also know, Rob, just human nature. And I just know when I played sports, obviously not close to the NBA level, but, you do want to shine too, and you settle into roles. Like when I played and I was a star at whatever it might have been, whatever sport, whatever, you want to win, of course, but you also do want to kind of get your yards if it's football, get your numbers if it's basketball, like that's a part of like your identity on that team.
Everybody wants to feel like they contributed and had a role in it. So that's
and you settle in roles though. Like, so if you're a role player, that you're not even like, you can really play free. You're not thinking about
no.
I gotta be the MVP. You know what I mean? Like that just be icing on the cake for you. If you're the second best player, I've been in situations where I was like the second best player. And you settle into that too. And if you're the second best player and you've accepted that, then if the best player gets the MVP award or whatever, you cool with it. But when you're the best player, you kind of expect it. Again, I think him and Jalen are completely fine. I don't think there's any beef. And yesterday, I did a whole rant on how he should not let anybody get him down if he doesn't win the Finals MVP. But inside, you also have that competitive nature, even with your teammates, and you want to shine. And really, Rob, it could serve as motivation for him going forward. And as Jalen, too. Like, Rob, I don't doubt, Jalen's made noise about how, he was upset that he was left off the All-NBA team. And I get it. I had him on my third team. And they won 64 games. They ran away from the Eastern Conference. And they only had one All-NBA player. That's kind of, crazy. And so I think, though, he used that as motivation, and I think Tatum will do the same. So it can be a good thing for the Celtics. But yesterday, Rob, he was asked by a reporter, Jason Tatum, about this being a historic team. Like, the reporter ran off some records. They're 15-2. No, that's the best record of any Celtics team ever in the playoffs. They could be the first team to sweep the conference finals and the NBA finals. If they win tonight, Rob, they'll be 80-20. That'll be the second best record in Celtics history. The 86 Celtics, which some people think, or at least they've been in that discussion for the best team ever. They were 82-18. This would be the second best. And they asked Jason Tatum, like, beyond just winning a championship, how does it feel to, maybe you'll actually be on a historically great, one of the all-time great teams, or certainly one of the all-time great Celtics team ever. What are your thoughts about that? Here's what he said.
There's never been a Celtic team ever with a better playoff record than what you guys have to this point. You guys have a chance to be second all-time, and the 86 team went 82-18. You guys could be 2 games away from that as like the second best Celtic team ever in terms of record. How much more would that add to it when you think of all that this franchise has done? You guys could be at the top of a whole lot of lists in that record book.
I didn't know that. That would be really cool. But you guys probably would say we didn't play anybody to get here, so we just have to do it again next year.
What do you think about that, Rob?
I mean, he's heard the conversation, and that was the talk before they got here. That whoever comes out of the West is going to beat the Celtics. The Celtics didn't beat anybody. Everybody was banged up. Sure, they should have won all those games. They didn't. They had the easiest path to the postseason. I mean, to the finals. That's what, right? That was the conversation. Right. And instead, they're looking at a 3-0 lead against the team everybody thought from the West, that the Western team, no matter who it was, that Denver had to get knocked out. Minnesota had to get knocked out. OKC had to get knocked out. And guess what? They still is in a situation, Chris, where they're going to make easy work of the team that most people thought had this dynamic backcourt and had the toughest road. They beat 50-win teams. They beat 350-win teams. Look at where they are. Does that matter now? No.
Yeah, I was one that was talking about their path. No doubt about it. They beat 3
you weren't
teams.
The only
None
one.
of them won 50. Most of them were banged up. But all that's out the window now. Like, beating Dallas, particularly if they sweep them, but even just beating them in 7, just beating them, period, ends all that. It ends it. It doesn't matter. Rob, we don't remember the path of teams 3 years ago. We just remember, did you win the championship or not? And so beating Dallas, which has 2 future Hall of Famers on the team, beating Dallas, which, as you said, they beat the Clippers with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Kawhi was banged up, but still. James Harden was there. They beat the number 1 seed in the West, Oklahoma City, with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the second highest ranked guy in the MVP voting. Then they beat Minnesota, the team that beat the defending champions. And so beating them, Rob, beating Dallas, that ends all that talk about, they ran through a weak East. They didn't have any competition in the finals. Rob, we talk about it with the 2008 Celtics. We don't care that they went 7 with Atlanta in the first round.
They won.
Right. Who cares? Doesn't matter one iota. And so, now, the only thing I will say is, and this is real nitpicking, if they sweep tonight and they end up 16-2, it still is what it is, and you got to give them props for that record. I would say if they face better competition, you don't think they would have went 16-2. But who knows? This would be their 11th straight victory, Rob. They haven't lost in like a month or so.
That's crazy. In the NBA, Chris, that's crazy. Great. And there would be what? 8-0 on the road. 8-0.
Right. So it's been a great team. And the one thing he did say that I agree with a lot of it, but when he said we just got to go win it again next year. Rob, I think all the talk about, is this an all-time great team? At least in Boston it's the talk. I don't think nationally. But all the talk about, is this a great team? And they got the numbers to back it up. But hardly anybody on the national level believes they're an all-time great team, regardless of the numbers.
Right.
Rob, I think that's good for these Celtics. I think that dangles a carrot out in front of them. Let's show everybody again. If we win it again, they can't say a thing about us. As long as they have the right viewpoint and take it one game, one day at a time, if they got that carrot dangling out there, yeah, we're going to show them still got the chip on their shoulder. That's great. I think, Rob, the Kansas City Chiefs right now, going for this three-peat, the first in Super Bowl history, I think that's great for them. Because you know championship teams can have a problem with complacency. And the Chiefs are not complacent because they're looking at, we want to be the first to win 3 straight. And I think the Celtics will not be complacent next year because they'll be like, yeah, look, we won 64. We won games by 11 points. We won the East by 14 games. We had the best playoff record in Celtics history, and they still don't think we're an all-time great team.
Right.
Let's show them. So I think it'll be good for them.
I do too. Motivation, something to shoot for. And also, I think teams understand that too about, solidifying it. And we brought it up a million times, Chris. And we do talk about this team a lot. But the 2004 Pistons, when they went back, Chris, it was just the idea that it wasn't a fluke. They didn't win.
Yep.
They lost in 7 games. Yep. They beat Shaq and Kobe. Oh, the Lakers, they were squabbling, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But they fought all the way back. Down, what were they down? 0-2 to the Spurs. Came back, forced a game 7, lost by 5 or 6 points. You don't leave, Chris, even though they didn't win back-to-back, feeling like that 2014 was a fluke, do you?
No. And you're right. A large part of it, if they had, say, gotten beaten the second round, Rob, there would have been a lot of talk about,
right.
Man,
that just
Shaq and Kobe. Kobe was going through the trial, right? And Malone was hurt, and they weren't getting along. It would have been all that, Rob. It would have been all that. And so you're right. So what they do, like, if they want to go down as like an all-time great, and they got a chance, Rob. Look, we don't know necessarily. I think Tatum and Brown are future Hall of Famers. Assuming they win this series, Rob, those two are Hall of Famers no matter what. I also think, though, Drew Holiday and Al Horford will probably be Hall of Famers if they win this championship. And I don't think Tatum and Brown are like, ultra all-time greats. But who knows what we'll think in 10 years. We just got to see. So